Він гине перемогою. Башкортостан став важнішим за нацистським регіоном Сталіна.
Hello everyone, you're watching Real Russia channel, the deepest insight into the real Russian life. My name is Sergey Baklikov, and today in this video I'm going to continue and to finish the theme about the Victory Park in the city of Ufa. And actually in this episode we are going to make a deepest insight into the museum of the military glory of the Republic of Bashkortostan, which you can see on your screens now. It is right here. You know, it was built 15 years ago in 2000 year, and actually it was dedicated to 55 years anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. You know, an architect of this building wanted to create an image that to make you feel how really tough, how hard and how bloody was the way to the victory in the Great Patriotic War. And actually that's why it has a form which is actually looks like an anti-tank dragon's teeth or a military battleship. And also same about the materials. That's why here is mostly a red granite, dark bronze, glass and stainless steel. You know, the museum works every single day except Monday. So Monday is a day off here. And working hours is from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, getting inside of the Museum of Military Glory of the Republic of Bashkortostan, and the first thing that we can see here is this mailbox. The thing is that the museum sometimes makes an action. You know, you can send a letter to every part, every corner of Russia in such a triangle form envelope. And you know, such an envelopes in a triangle forms was invented during the Great Patriotic War by the Soviet soldiers. You know, you could take just usual paper, make a triangle envelope of this and to send to your family. And actually the soldiers was writing the letters like this, and only official letters was sent in a usual normal form of the envelope. And actually you could always say if the soldier is alive or dead when the postman was only holding the letter in their hands. If this is a triangle envelope, then probably the soldier is alive and wrote it himself. If it's a normal official envelope, then probably it's a notification about a death. What about the price for an entrance here? You know, it's just 55 Russian rubles. It is just about €1 and a little less than $1 American. So the price is really very affordable because, you know, this museum is dedicated to the Ministry of Culture of the Republic of Bashkortostan, and the commercial purpose is not the main here. The main thing is just to enlighten the people for the history of the Great Patriotic War. And finally we are getting inside of the Museum of the Military Glory of the Republic of Bashkortostan, kind of spacious place where on 2 stages presented more than 10,000 exhibits of the Great Patriotic War. You know, the city of Ufa and the Republic of Bashkortostan was kind of far from the Soviet Union borders and far from the battlefront. So that's why a lot of factories was evacuated here in Bashkortostan, more than 100 of them. And they worked hard for producing a lot of stuff for the needs of the Great Patriotic War. And I can say that the first stage is mostly dedicated to the rear activity of the Republic of Bashkortostan and the city of Ufa. So let's look at this closer. But of course, the city of Ufa, the Republic of Bashkortostan, also provided the soldiers who participated in a Great Patriotic War. And I want to start with this memorial, which is located right in the center of the first floor. Here we can see the number 322,000 people died in a Great Patriotic War from the Republic of Bashkortostan, and it's really a huge amount. It's about 1/3 of the nowadays population of the city of Ufa, which is the capital of the Republic of Bashkortostan. And now this is definitely the most valuable exhibit here, the most interesting, at least in my opinion. This is an aviation engine M105P, which is produced by the factory in the city of Ufa, factory number 92. This engine went through a huge history. It was produced in 1942 and installed on a plane which participated in a battle not far from the Leningrad, which is nowadays St. Petersburg. The plane was beaten by the Nazis, and actually as this engine, it was laid somewhere not far from Leningrad for almost 60 years, while one of the search parties have found it and gave to the museum of Ufa. So that's how actually for about 60 years it got out from Ufa and got back to Ufa again. And you know, when you are watching to this real exhibit, which really participated and became a victim of the Great Patriotic War, you feel the vibe of this, and you really can feel all the tragedy of the Great Patriotic War. So that's why I think it's really a very valuable exhibit. In the years of the Great Patriotic War, everyone, absolutely everyone worked for the victory, even the kids. You know, these kids even not tall enough for working on this equipment, but he placed a box under his feet and became tall enough to be able to work on the equipment. And this is a scale model of the legendary Katyusha. It's multiply rocket launch system BM, if I'm not mistaken, 14, BM-14. It was a real nightmare for the Nazis because such a system could send a lot of rockets with a high speed in the same time. The next exhibit here is a machine gun Maxim. It was invented yet in the end of 19th century by an American engineer, Maxim, but this is actually a Russian edition of this. And this is a virtual guy, the soldier who telling you about the most interesting scenes of the Great Patriotic War. In a lot of exhibits we can see the uniforms, the photographs, and read the stories about the people and about their acts of bravery during the Great Patriotic War. Also, we can see a lot of examples of the stuff that the factories in the Republic of Bashkortostan produced for the needs of the war. Actually, all these things, all these photographs, all these stories is just a lot of pieces of the Great Patriotic War. And when you look at all of these pieces, you are like in a puzzle, makes for yourself more wide and more obvious picture about how really tragic and how wide, how big was the Great Patriotic War. And you starting to feel it just more keen inside of you. Besides of the things, of the stuff, here is just the personal things of the people who this or that way but participated in the Great Patriotic War. In this installation we can see how is the wooden Bashkir house looked like in a period of the Great Patriotic War. Actually, here is not a lot of things, but everything is very much rational, very much functional. So everything what is here have its certain function. So the bed, the glide, the samovar, the sewing machine, all of this here. What about outside? We can see an installation outside of the Bashkir wooden house here as well. Well, I can see the face of this woman, so I can say if this is his mother or his wife, but this woman is definitely just farewell this man for a war. And we can see all the dramatism, all the dramatic moments of this scene. Besides of 10,000 of physical exhibits which is presented here in the Museum of Military Glory of Bashkortostan, here we can also find modern things like an interactive panel. Actually, we can come here and watch different movies about the Great Patriotic War. We can get an access to an archives. For example, you see there the wall with the names of the heroes of the Soviet Union from the Republic of Bashkortostan. They're just their names. But here you can get an access to an archive where you can get to every name and to see the whole history of every soldier, photographs and the story, and what for which act of bravery they got the hero of the Soviet Union. So, getting to the second floor, and in the middle of the first floor and the second floor we can see a lot of posters here. As a funny sketches, like this one, where Hitler lays in a look of pig, as just posters with a lot of motivation for the Soviet Union soldiers to participate in a Great Patriotic War and to make everything for the victory. Okay, getting inside of the second floor. The second floor starts with the Philately exhibition, where presented a lot of different envelopes, post stamps, postcards of those days of the Great Patriotic War, or at least dedicated to the Great Patriotic War. And it's really interesting to watch how it looks like. I already mentioned that here presented a lot of personal things of the people, of the soldiers, and this is, you know, just absolutely usual things like watches, like a compass, like a tube for the cigarettes, like a box for the cigarettes, like a matches, just usual simple things. They are presented here. When we have been in the Victory Park, there we have seen the graveyard and the memorial of Musa AF, twice the hero of the Soviet Union from the Republic of Bashkortostan. And here in the Museum of the Military Glory, that's his silicon figure, that's he is in his best young years. Musa AF, professional flyer. On his list there are more than 250 flights, and he beaten a lot of Nazi planes. That's why he is twice the hero. You know, after war he lived in the city of Ufa, as I said, until 1987, before he passed away. In this installation we can see just one single moment of the battle, and actually when you look at this you can feel all the tragedy, all the drama of the moment. You see everything is broken, the holes from the bombs, the dirty uniforms, the death, the fire, the tanks, the machine gun. It's all just a pretty terrible. This part of the museum dedicated to the sailors. You know, the Russian fleet played a huge role in the Great Patriotic War. So here we can see the uniform of the Soviet Union sailor and some of his personal things, like a knife, like maps, and so. Some of the exhibits dedicated to the Nazi German soldiers as well. Look at this. This is the uniform of the Nazis. Now let's pay an attention to this interesting exhibition of the weapons. First off, pay an attention to these aviation bombs, bigger ones and smaller ones, which is called FAB 500 and FAB 100. And this is a machine gun for the aviation, for the planes. This is the system of Berezin. And this is the system of Degtyarev. And this is a mines sender. An installation, something like a wall of Reichstag. And this man is Gazi Zagitov. He was from the Republic of Bashkortostan and was one of the first people who installed the flag of the USSR above the Reichstag. You know, I'm leaving the Museum of Military Glory in the Republic of Bashkortostan in the city of Ufa with a kinda sad feeling that I haven't shown you at least a half of what is presented here, but really a lot of exhibits, really a lot of information and a lot of stuff, so I probably will need at least a couple of hours of edited video to show everything of this. Well, I hope that one day you will be able to visit this yourself, or at least you can go to the website of the museum where you can find a 3D tour. The address of the website you can see now on your screens. Anyway, hope you enjoyed at least what you have seen in this Museum of the Military Glory of the Republic of Bashkortostan. That was The Real Russia channel, the deepest insight into the real Russian life. My name is Sergey Baklikov, and I ask you, don't forget to comment, to like, and to subscribe. See you.